Should I sue my girlfriend for selling my stuff? We are both in our early 20s, and we've been together for about 3 years now. We met during our college years, and despite the usual ups and downs that come with a young relationship, we've grown closer over time. We share a lot of similar interests, and moving in together felt like the natural next step in our relationship. It's been 2 months since we took that leap and officially moved in together, and while it's been mostly great, we've been adjusting to the new dynamic of sharing a living space. The move itself was a big deal. We had both been living separately, and this was the first time we were combining our stuff and figuring out how to navigate our shared home. We're still learning things about each other's habits, quirks, and boundaries when it comes to personal belongings. And that's where this whole situation comes into play, because I've just learned that there are some pretty major differences in how we view personal possessions. A bit of background on me. When I was a teenager, I was absolutely obsessed with collecting Pokémon cards. It wasn't just a passing hobby for me, it was something I really invested myself in. Over the years, I built up a collection of over 5,000 cards. For me, these cards weren't just pieces of paper or objects to trade away lightly. They were something I had spent years working to collect, organizing, and preserving. Each card held some sort of memory, whether it was a rare find, a card that took me forever to track down, or even one I got from a trade with a friend. Some of them were valuable, and others were just sentimental. Most of the cards in my collection were probably worth next to nothing, maybe 0.5 cents to $3 each. But I did have a good number of more valuable ones that could be worth up to $250 or more, depending on their condition and rarity. Personally, I never intended to sell any of them, or at least not in the near future. I always liked the idea of holding onto them, maybe passing them down, or just keeping them as part of my personal history. To me, they were more than just a collection, they were part of my childhood, something I had poured my heart into during those formative years. Now, fast forward to 1 month ago, my girlfriend's cousin came to visit us. I hadn't given it much thought at the time. He's younger than us, still in his teens, and a nice enough kid. While he was here, he saw my Pokémon collection and apparently showed a lot of interest in it. I didn't really notice it at the time because I was busy with other things, but he must have been talking about it with my girlfriend. What I didn't know, and what I would only find out much later, is that he asked my girlfriend if he could have my entire collection. He just casually asked if he could take all of my cards home with him. Here's where things get tricky. Instead of asking me, my girlfriend made the decision to give away my entire Pokémon collection to her cousin without saying a word to me. She didn't think it was necessary to involve me in the decision because, in her mind, I'm an adult now, and she believed that meant I didn't need them anymore. She figured they were just childish collectibles that were sitting in a box gathering dust, and that giving them to her cousin would make him happy while freeing up space in our new place. I had no idea any of this had happened. It wasn't until today, as I was cleaning up our room and doing some organizing, that I realized my collection box was missing. At first, I thought maybe I had misplaced it during the move. I searched everywhere in the closet, under the bed, in storage boxes, but it was nowhere to be found. I started to get this sinking feeling in my stomach because I knew I hadn't touched the box since we moved in, and I was certain it had been there. After about an hour of tearing the place apart, my girlfriend came home after running some errands. I immediately asked her if she had seen my Pokémon card collection, hoping that maybe she had just moved it somewhere while tidying up. That's when she dropped the bombshell. She told me, in the most casual tone, that she had given the entire collection to her cousin about a month ago when he visited. At first, I couldn't even process what she was saying. I asked her to repeat herself because I thought I must have misunderstood. But no, she confirmed it. She had given all 5,000 cards to her cousin without even asking me. I was in shock. I couldn't believe she had just given away something so important to me without even having a conversation about it. My first reaction was to ask her to get them back immediately. I didn't care how awkward it would be or how uncomfortable it might make her feel. Those cards were mine, and I wanted them back, but she refused. She said it would be too humiliating for her to ask for them back after she had already given them away, especially since she did it thinking I wouldn't mind. I told her that this wasn't just some random junk I was holding on to. It was a collection I had built over years. I explained how much it meant to me, both emotionally and in terms of its potential value, but she still wouldn't budge. She kept saying that since I'm an adult now, I shouldn't care about Pokemon cards anymore and that I should just let it go. She even tried to downplay the whole thing, saying her cousin was really happy to have the collection and that I shouldn't make a big deal out of it. Now, here's where things get complicated. I have a recording of her admitting to giving the collection away. It's not like I was trying to catch her or anything, but we happened to be talking about it while my phone was recording, and I have the full confession saved. I know that legally I could use that recording to get compensation for the collection if I wanted to take it to court. Based on the value of some of the rarer cards, I could probably make a case for financial compensation. But doing that would almost certainly end our relationship, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to go down that road. I love her a lot, there's no question about that. But this whole situation has really made me question things. I'm torn between my feelings for her and the frustration I feel over losing something that was so important to me. I keep going back and forth in my mind, wondering if I'm overreacting or if I'm justified in feeling this upset. On the one hand, it feels petty to think about suing someone I love, but on the other hand, I don't know how else I'm going to get my collection back. At this point, I don't even know what the right move is. I've tried explaining to her how much those cards meant to me, but she just doesn't seem to understand. She keeps brushing it off as if it's not a big deal, and that only makes me more upset. If there's a less aggressive way to handle this, I'd love to hear it. Maybe someone here has been through something similar and can offer advice. I just want to figure out a way to resolve this without making things worse, but I also don't want to lose my collection forever. Update 1. Holy shit. Never thought this is how 2021 would end. A lot has happened since my first post. First, thank you for the support, some tips, and good luck. I'll start by clearing some assumptions. In my original post I said, though I love her a lot, I believe I would rather have my cards. This statement alone pissed some of you, so let me elaborate on that. My first ever 300 cards were from my father's collection. He died of hepatitis C. He was quite into gaming. My mom kept his cards for years and gave them to me when I was in my early teens and I got hooked. I grew the collection to 5,000 cards. There was immense sentimental value attached to those cards. After my GF refused to talk to the cousin, he refusing to give me the cards when I asked, his parents being jerks to me, I took the legal route. Filed and fur. Initially, I had trouble since the police didn't care about some cards, but my sister, who is a lawyer, she is about to become a lawyer, told the police the estimated value and they got interested. We told the police 5 to 5.5k value of the cards. Things took time, but the police eventually confiscated the cards for $1,987 and got them appraised by a company. They came back with a value of approximately $6,000. I told the police the missing cards were also of substantial value since they were very old. Son of bitch sold the one my father left behind. Cousin told us who he sold to, and those people gave the cards back with no problems. Right now, the police have all the cards. The cousin who I knew had his eyes on my cards, threw my GF under the bus. I know this because he wanted to buy those from me in the past, but I refused. He told the police he bought those in good faith. My GF also tried lying to the police, but since I had her on recording, she got into even more trouble. She got charged with grand larceny and also fined for lying to the police. I should get the cards by the end of this month or by early January. The police just said they need to finalize and file some reports and then I can have them. As for proof of all this, I had the cards' photos front and back, along with some receipts. Some of you were also saying that I should take this too small claim court. This amount is too big for that, at least where I am.